Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of Why You Should Play. Sorry for the delay. I had a lot of school stuff to go through, midterms and all that fun stuff. So without further ado, we're just gonna hop right into this Why You Should Play. It's an interesting one. It's kind of a game I kind of want to talk about for weird reasons, not in a bad way. I think it's just this game to me as a kid was fun, but now as an adult, now that I've somewhat beat the game, we'll get into that later. Just holy cow. You can also skip this if you want to. This is not mandatory to watch. I'll put where you can jump to in the description or on screen for the video to start. But this is just kind of like a little monologue before we start into the video. The holy beans, this game as a kid was so cool to me, but now as an adult, trying to beat this game took a lot off my life. I didn't even beat the final boss, but we'll get to that and why. But yeah, this game was an interesting game. So without further ado, let's just hop straight into why you should play Shinobi. This might be actually one of the lowest rated why you should plays. I'm debating if I wouldn't even want to call it a why you should play, but Jesus Christ, this game is something else. So fun fact about Shinobi is that this game was originally meant to be a Dreamcast game, but I guess due to like the console not going through and a bunch of other things that the Dreamcast had gone through, unfortunately, they decided to move it over to the PS2. It would have been actually a really cool concept to see what the the Dreamcast version would have offered. I would have loved to see that, because you do get, when playing Shinobi, a very arcade feel. And if I was going to say that anything, me on this channel, I fucking love the Dreamcast, and I think is one of the greatest consoles of all time. I have a modded Dreamcast, and it sits in my living room. I play it every now and again when I want to practice some Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Best believe some more Marvel vs. Capcom 2 content will be coming to this channel. I might do a iceberg video on Soul Calibur or Marvel vs. Capcom 2, depending on what comes first. But we'll definitely see. But without further ado, let's talk about the story of the game. So this is kind of part of the Shinobi series, like the Shinobi from like Sega Genesis and the arcade Shinobi games, which the new Shinobi just came out, but like a little bit of footage of the trailer here. It's weirdly enough got like Robotnik in it. It's like Shinobi villains or something like that. And this game follows the main character of the Hotsuma clan, I think. I'm gonna butcher these names, but you have the Hotsuma, the leader of the Ouroboros clan, and he has like this really magical blade. But we'll get to why I like and dislike this mechanic later in the video. It feeds on souls. It does, like the more enemies you kill, the more it feeds the sword. I don't know how to exactly explain it, but like I said, we'll go over it in the future. And then all of a sudden, like, this castle appears in the middle of like Japan and stuff like that, and it's your goal to basically defeat like whoever is in charge of summoning all these like spirits and stuff that's destroying Japan. So the game is like, weirdly enough, like, what if Dante from the Devil May Cry series was a ninja? So it's really cool in the stylistic points aspect. I really love the gameplay. Like, the gameplay is very good. It's really fun. Like, the story of the game, I'm not really gonna go too deep into, because it's not really like intrinsically in part of like how you would enjoy the game. I would actually say the gameplay is first, story is like third. I would say gameplay first, then like maybe like character designs, because there's a lot of fire character designs in this game, including the main character himself. And then like the story is like, oh yeah, we have a story to write. So I would go as far as to say like Shinobi has a decent learning curve. I love the way the beginning of the game kind of like spoon feeds you, but not in a way that's like super butt cheeks. Like, it's like not like today's standards where it's like yellow line here or yellow paint here to tell you to climb this or something like that. Like, it does, within this small space, give you choices to be able to move around. Like, this is one of the best games wall running exists. I can't think of another game that allows the character to wall run that this game has. I think it's such one of, like, I don't have to hold the button. Like, if I was able to put my, like, button mapping, like, you would tell when I'm on the walls and stuff, I'm not using like a button. Like the more like you jump into the wall, he automatically does it. And I think that takes away a lot of like the fear, because like I don't know if you played like maybe Prince of Persia, where you have to hold the button to hold onto the wall and all this funky stuff, and it gets kind of annoying after a while. So unfortunately, there's no like, there's sub weapons, but there's only the main weapon, which is the katana that you have, which I believe I forget the name of it. I'll put the name of it here on the screen, but it's like the Hatsuma, or that's just the name of the main character. The Akujiri, I think it's called. Yeah. The Akujiki, I'm butchering that, but the Akujiki is the only main weapon that you're going to be using through this entire playthrough. And another thing I'm kind of leaving out, but you can't forget about, is the cool, like, if you've ever seen like old Japanese cartoons or like animes and stuff like that, where like the samurai or ninja like cuts down a bunch of people and then like they flick their sword and like the blood spurts out, or like they all fall down at once because like he moved so fast. It was almost as if he moved without like sight. And this game rewards you with different cutscenes of the main character doing poses. So like if you like, I kind of figured it out, like the more you played, like if you do a jump where it's upcut, he'll go into like holding the sword both his hands, and then he hits it, which makes the sound that kills everyone. And if you do a downward slash, he goes into a downward pose where he slowly slides the sword into its sheath. If you do like a forward slash at the last hit, then you know, I don't know if we're gonna have that on screen, but as you play, you'll start to kind of get it. And so the sub weapons, just to go over quickly what the sub weapons are, you get a fire explosion. The best way I can explain it is just a fire explosion. It takes out majority of the enemies in your radius, but you do not get style points for this. Using sub weapons brings down your style points, but we'll get to that in a second. You do not get style points for using the fireball. Then you have an invincibility move, which like shoots lightning into himself, and he becomes invulnerable literally to anything around him. He has another similar move where he does the electricity, but it goes onto the blade instead of him, and he does double damage and also shoots projectiles. I think you get about 3 projectiles. So you do get different ways of playing, and also you get the kunais that stun enemies. I say this is your best friend. Stock up on as many kunais as you can. This way, like, you're stunning a lot of enemies. A lot of enemies will be over pits and it'll really be hard to hit, so you lock onto them and then you can throw a kunai. Also too, with the invincibility, you get a speed up, so you get a little extra damage and speed up, if I'm not mistaken. So there's different ways that you can approach a stage. You obviously get more stylistic points for doing this with no hits, if you take no damage. It's really, it does add replayability. I do think the beginning of Shinobi like adds to its playability, and you'll see kind of why I say that. And I guess we can go into talking about level design and how the character, your main character, interacts with the world. Oh yeah, and quick thing about the mechanics I forgot to add was that there's a style meter at the top of the screen. You're going to see like different kanji and these like orbs that appear, and these represent each enemy that is on the field, at least near you within your vicinity. And the more you kill them, the more the blade gets stronger, and you receive more souls from it. You do double damage. I don't know, I would say like probably a ×2 multiplier for each one you kill, and it does really good damage. Meaning like if you have weak enemies that go down in 1 or 2 hits, it's more advised to take out those, because the damage multiplier from that goes to the big monster. So you end up taking out the bigger monster quicker, opposed to taking it out first, and the smaller monsters that'll die quickly. And you can actually use this mechanics on bosses, so hopefully you'll see in like the gameplay. It's kind of hard to like match it and stuff like that, but you'll see like when you play yourself that you're like, oh, that this is very important. And also thing I forgot to mention was how the blade interacts and why this kind of sucks. So this is kind of editor marquees here, sorry. And I'm just going to say, like, holy cow, the stage links later on are so gosh darn long that it ends up being a burden to have the blade. because it ends up taking your health when it reaches 0 souls. So they, on the bottom left, there's like an indicator, like these flames above, like in the circle, that's your health. Right below that, that red circle is the sword. So the souls that the sword doesn't get, it takes your health. So on certain stages, like I would say about like stage, like the last stage when you're climbing like the tower, it's so long that they give you shards for free, because it's like at certain points you're losing health. So it becomes a race against time. It's either kill monsters and waste more time when you want to go through it fast, or go through it fast and end up losing a lot more health than you were normally because you're trying to just go through the stage without killing anything. So while it does add some type of like urgency, it also kind of takes away from the fun. It's like, okay, now it becomes a chore, and losing in this game isn't just losing. You're not just dying. You die, you're losing like an hour, not an hour, but like 15 minutes, because like it starts you at the direct beginning of the stage. So let's say you just started stage, you were right there at the end and died, you have to do all of that over. So it becomes a race against time, and luckily, like if you lose your life, you get everything back, even at a boss fight. So even if you make it to the boss fight with like little to no health, at least you have something. Like you could just reset right there and then get all your health back and the sword be full. But I do think it's a hindrance more than it is a actual part of the game. Like in the beginning, it's really fun to be able to manage how much style points you need via the kanji circles that represent the enemies, how to balance going through the stage at a moderate pace while also still getting style points, and using your abilities like the kunai explosion, what I like to call it, where he shoots kunais everywhere, and you can only do that when you have like a clump of kunais, not just singular ones. So I do say it's a really good game. Still check it out, and back to the video. So in Shinobi, there consists about, I would say, 6 to about 8 stages. I'll put the actual number here, but there's 2 versions. You have the A and then the B. The A is usually the easier one, and then the B is like, since you got used to this mechanic, the B is like the little extra hard. They're usually a little bit longer. Now in the beginning of the game, I'm going to say stages 1 through about 5 are glorious. 5 onwards suck butt. Like they're like the worst design stages of all time. And I'm not saying that because I genuinely have love for this game. I'm not going to sit here and try to shit on it and make it seem like this game is like really bad, or like, why are you even touching this game, bro? Like it's definitely worth the first playthrough. Like if you play this game for the first time, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to like the music. Though I'm using a lot of music from Tenchu, I'll have my section where I show you my favorite song from the soundtrack. Soundtrack is actually really good. Soundtrack is actually really good in this game. And I think it's really underplayed because the songs are really low sometimes for me, and I don't know if that's because I'm playing on my Steam Deck or whatever, or, you know, my PS2. I'm kidding. But the game itself isn't bad. Like I said, the stage designs are really good, and where it starts to fall off is usually it's around stage 6 for me. Stage 6, and I'll have like kind of gameplay of stage 6 here, and it's the worst because you have like a bunch of bottomless pits, and you have to run on the walls, and you have flying enemies that can stun you, which could cause you to fall off the wall. There's also like this, like, that's like the second part of the stage, because like the first part is like this drop down where you have to like look down and stuff like that, or it might be stage 7, I'm not too sure, but it's like this one stage where you have to keep going down, and it's like the camera fights you. And one thing I forgot to mention in like kind of the mechanics aspect of the game is, oh my god, the lock system in this lock-on system in this game is hands down one of the worst lock systems in a game. I don't know how it works. Like this, hands down, you have to hold the button, that's one. So where you got the greatness in the wall run, they fucked it so hard on the lock-on, because I could be facing an enemy, and I'll look through the footage, and if I can find it, where I'm fighting the boss on stage 6, or in between stage 6 and 7. Oh, please don't make that meme. But in between stage 6 and 7, there is like he summons like these little like tripod things, whatever they are, and like they shoot lasers. So I'm trying to lock onto it, and it's like my camera 360 lock-ons to like homie all the way in the back, and I'm like, I wasn't even looking his direction nor at him. How did I lock onto this guy? So like the lock-on system in this game blows hot butt cheeks. And when you have levels in this game that aren't kind of designed around that thought, like, okay, we know the lock-on system sucks, so we tried to make the stages work a little bit better. No, when you gotta start ascending the tower to fight the final boss, holy granola, there's like 900. The stage is an entirely bottomless pit, so if you lock onto the wrong thing, you're gonna die. Now, you can lock this up to skill issue. I'm not gonna sit here and become a shinobi master. I'll leave that up to you cynophobes. Not cynophobes, you sycophites, whatever they call it. I don't know. Whatever word insert here. Sycophants, I think? I don't know. But low-key, like, this is one of, like, the best games, I would say, to really get that PS2 era, cheesy, like, oh my goodness, the voice acting in this game is horrible, but it's so good. It's, like, so bad it's good, and I really, really enjoy it. I was going as far as to say, like, this game was widely received. I do think Metacritic does give it a decent score of 71, and that's just the Metacritic score. The user score is about an 8.5. I do think that's a bit exaggerated. I would actually agree here with Metacritic. It's like a half game. Like, it's like 71 is not bad. Like, I do think that is a very good, like, in the middle. It's okay. It's not bad, but it's not super great either. Like, this is a great bargain bin find, but, like, I'm not trying to disrespect it by saying, like, it's a bad game. It's part of a series that, you know, not everybody knows about, but, like, it's still kind of cool that they tried to step outside of the 2D era and go into that 3D. And I think they did a decent job stepping from 2D to 3D. You gotta remember, around this time when it came out, of November 10th, 2002, this game was, like, in that time period where a lot of games were moving from 2D to 3D. So Shinobi took a stab at it. And I would say, like, amongst the greats of, like, Legend of Zelda, Mario, Sonic, you know, it tried. It definitely tried. Ninja Gaiden was another game that also was kind of like Shinobi. It was Sega Shinobi. So Ninja Gaiden was started off on SNES and NES games, and then now it's in 3D and everybody loves it. So Shinobi tried. I would say that it's not a bad game for trying. I would say that a lot of people need to, I guess, spend a little bit more time learning more about the game. And I would say take your time to really understand the game. And just kind of, like, I guess, end it here, because I don't want to make the video, like, the whole point of the video is to bring your attention to it. I'm not going to go, like, deep into its mechanics and how you do this. Like, that's not the point of these videos. It's just mainly to put spotlights on the game so that you can be like, oh, that game actually looks really interesting, let me go check it out. I guess I'll leave it on this note. I didn't beat the game. I know. Put your pitchforks down. It's kind of crazy. And there's a massive reason why I didn't. The reason I didn't beat the game was because, holy cow, it gets so frustrating by the end of the game. It's just like, you could tell they were throwing, like, anything at the wall kind of thing. And the final boss doesn't even have music. Like, it is honest. Like, listen to this and tell me you're gonna have fun with this.
You do not understand the forces with which you are dealing. I call forth the fires of hell! I call forth the fires of hell! I call down the power of the heavens! I call down the power of the heavens! I call down the power of the heavens!
Like, come on, like, I'm running around, I'm like, yo, where's the music, guys? Like, there's no music here. And, like, it's weirdly coded. I don't know if they even finished coding the final boss. Because there's, like, times you're supposed to hit the sorcerer, and it's like, I hit him sometimes, he just fades and teleports somewhere else. There's other times where I hit him while he's faded, and then he just bursts in the glass, and it works, and then it goes seconds into the second phase fight, which has music. So it's like, was this supposed to be part of the game? Like, I don't... Who knows? Who knows? So I didn't finish the game. I just couldn't take it. I was, like, low-key... I don't want to do this. And then there's a part 2 to this. It's called Nightshade, and oh my god, I don't even think I want to touch that. I low-key, like, it might be like another year and a half before I touch. Like, Shinobi is at least bearable. It's got great music, great level designs for the most part. But golly, I tried Nightshade and I almost ripped my hair out. It is one of the worst fucking games of all time. Like, Jesus Christ, get this shit off my screen, Dad. So if you guys really want me to do that, I'll cook up a video, but I won't release it unless you guys really want that. So, you know, I guess like in the comments. So I'll leave it with this. This is one of my favorite songs. I know I said that like 3 times. I'll leave it with this, but this is my favorite song from the games. So yeah, I would go as far as to say Shinobi for the PS2. It grew on me. I guess like taking a day off and not playing it, I kind of want to play more, weirdly enough. So I would say instead of like a 5.5, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. I give it a half a score. I do think it's an 8.5, as Metacritic said. I do solidly think this is a okay, like if you need that early 2000s fix, so I would say just go play DMC, you know, 2 or 3. Well, go play 3. If you don't like Shinobi or bad mechanics, go play 3. Don't play 2. So with further that, like I said, I'll give it 6.5 kunais out of 10. I do think that's where I'm gonna leave it at here. And if you really enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I enjoy making these videos for you guys. I see the popularity that my PSO video got, and yeah. If you guys really like enjoying these Why You Should plays, or if you have any suggestions on what I should do next, please be sure to put that in the comments. Talk in the comments, hype the video, do what you gotta do. Because at the end of the day, you gotta remember one thing, guys. You're my exes. Peace.